Well, thank you very much, everyone, for coming. Thank you especially for sticking around to the end. Those of you that did. It's obviously quite a long day. I hope you enjoyed the conference. I think some of the sessions were very good. I think some of the sessions maybe needed some improvement. I suppose we can debate which sessions people enjoyed. But I just wanted to say from the kind of ad hoc coalition of groups and individuals that helped to build this conference. I mean, it was very much an experiment, really. These organisations here, we haven't necessarily really worked together that closely. I mean, we always bump across each other in movements, and I met many people in the student movement and things like that. But I mean, coming together and meeting regularly and trying to pull a conference together took a lot of work. And I think generally the project was a success. But I mean, the points that people raised about there should have been more discussions around feminism, there should have been more discussions around the environment. I mean, I completely agree with that, and I think that the coalition of groups that's involved in the moment, and maybe more people will get involved. Maybe we'll have another event next year, maybe in the spring or something. We can try and make it bigger, and we can try and make it more inclusive, and we can try and bring in more voices and ideas. And that was really the purpose of the conference, ultimately, because when I was handing out some leaflets for it on one of the demonstrations recently, and someone took it and they kind of went, ugh, another London conference. Fair enough. Another, and this person was saying, we don't need more conferences. We need more action. We need more kind of like mobilisations and struggle and things. And of course, we need more mobilisations. Of course, we need more activity. We need more confidence in street mobilisations and strikes. But I do think there is a real crisis of politics on the left. There's a crisis of strategy. A lot of us don't really know how we're going to be able to stop the austerity attacks. A lot of us don't really know how we're going to be able to transform society. I think, people talk about a crisis of confidence within the working class or, the popular masses. I think there's also a crisis of confidence amongst many people on the left. And so, of course, we don't want to, fill up everyone's diary with more and more conferences and discussions and things like that. But certainly I think if there is that crisis and we can identify it, then I think it is worth coming together to have some of those discussions. And if you really think about the strengths and weaknesses of different wings of the movement, I think that, just following on from Nick's point, we do need politics, really. I think there's been a real tendency, even amongst some people on the left, to kind of reduce things to the question of the social, to be afraid of, the bigger political questions around power, the state, and things like that. And I think we need to be very cautious of that. I think we need to be very careful about that tendency. And there's people from the more socialist tradition who I think have got some very good ideas around that. But then there's people from the Occupy autonomous libertarian tradition, if you want, who have got some really great ideas as well, have been doing some really brilliant things. And, I've said this before, you can sell, a lot of papers or organise a lot of, conferences about capitalism as much as you want. But at the end of the day, what Occupy and people like that involved in the direct action movement managed to do in terms of introducing into the mainstream media a criticism of capitalism, a criticism of the way the banks were functioning, I think that was a really positive thing. And so creating that dialogue between different wings of the movement is very important. I would just end on this 2 points in terms of upping the ante and reclaiming the future. In 2013, I think we need to really struggle for a more united anti-cuts movement in this country. I think it is I think it's a crime. I said it in one of the previous sessions. I think it's a crime that we in Britain cannot even create a united anti-cuts movement. We need to deal with that. That's a fundamental thing, and we need to stop making excuses for division. We need to stop making excuses for why we can't create better coordination. We need to actually think about, what do we need to do in this country? Not what serves us or our political organisations or our preconceived ideologies. What would actually take things forward and actually help, people in Britain and internationally. And that is a united anti-cuts movement. And I think that's a very important way of upping the ante. And in terms of reclaiming the future, just the very final thing I'll say on some of the discussions I think we need to have. I think one of the things that the radical progressive movement really lost after 1991 was the idea that we could plan the economy in any meaningful way. And even now when you say planning, people just think of bureaucracy, they think of, kind of awful sort of turgid meetings, or, sort of corruption and things like that. There must be a way in which we can reintroduce the idea of a radical democratic plan to the economy. And that is what I think the left needs to be thinking about ways of articulating that and thinking about ways of bringing that back onto the political agenda. Because without that, I don't know how we're going to be able to save the planet from environmental destruction. I honestly don't know how we're going to be able to really solve the problems that are going on in the global south. I honestly don't know, in terms of what Kate's contribution, the social decline that is going on, even in the advanced kind of capitalist countries and so on. Unless we have an alternative to the market, unless we have an alternative to neoliberalism and austerity, not just that we want to resist it and stop it from happening because it's bad and it's affecting people, but we have a workable, credible alternative, then I think that we're not going to be able to make the advances that we make. So, again, thank you very much for coming. Just want to say we've got a great thing coming up next. Stand Up Against the Government. It's in the Draper's Bar just around the corner. I know some of you are tired, but come and have a few drinks. There's some great comedians, and we've got some music as well. So it'd be really great to see some of you there. Maybe we can carry on the discussions, or you can just listen to some comedy. Up to you. I really don't mind. You can do what you want. It's a free country. So, thank you for coming. Thank you.